All right. So we are in Revelation chapter 6, and we will read the first 8 verses. Revelation chapter 6 and the first 8 verses. I would request Renji Philippos to please read those verses for us. Revelation chapter 6, verse 1 to 8.
Revelation chapter 6 verses 1 to 1 to
1 to 8.
1 to 8. I watched as the lamp opened the first of the 7 seals. Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying in a voice like thunder, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. When the lamp opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. When the lamp opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. When the lamp opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth.
Thank you. Now we looked at the first seal, and I explained to you how that the white horse is a precursor or the entrance of this great influential person who will come, who will ultimately take the power and control of the whole world. So today I would like to look at the other seals. But before I do that, I already mentioned to you about the conditions that will help in the atmosphere or the environment of this world, which will help in bringing out this Antichrist. So I would like to go from the first 4 seals, take a closer look at it today. And let me share my screen to give you an understanding of that. You can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now please give me your undivided attention here. The seals which we see in chapter 6, or in fact in chapter 5, we see in chapter 5 verse 1, I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written. So book or biblio is basically a scroll in that ancient times. They did not have a book like ours, a binded book with 1, 2, 3, page numbers and so on. They had this scroll, and the scroll is, rolled into a cylindrical shape, and this cylindrical shape is often sealed because this is the way in which they secure the message. And in fact, when the receiver receives that scroll or the sealed scroll, they will realize that this is intact, because you cannot read what is inside the scroll without opening the seal. And the moment you open it, it's broken, because it is stuck into the part where the opening of that paper is. So if it has been tampered with, it will be very evident. And in Roman law,
Okay.
anyone who is found tampering with that seal is will meet a death penalty. You remember the time that the Roman government sealed the tomb of Jesus, and there was a confidence that no one will try to infringe on that, or try to tamper with that seal and get into the tomb, because they know what penalty awaits them. So a Roman seal, I'll show you a Roman seal. Look at this picture. The seals of the scroll, it's actually a 7 sealed scroll. The more number of seals are there, the more security or secure is the document, and the more important that document is. Now, I already mentioned to you in chapter 4 and chapter 5 is a courtroom scene where the courtroom of heaven is set up. It is also underlined in Daniel chapter 7 that the council is set up in heaven, or the courtroom is set up, and the seats are taken, and the judge and the Ancient of Days is coming and sitting in to judge. So this particular setting, or a particular courtroom setting, is for the sole purpose of pronouncing the judgment of God upon the earth, or it is just a repayment. So we know that when a judge sits upon his seat, it is time to pronounce the judgment, right? And it's a very important day, or an important hour, when the judge will open up the document that he has got and pronouncing the judgment upon a case that was going on for a long time. It will be all covered by the media. A lot of interest is there, public interest is there. So especially when the case is very important. We saw that, in India, when the Ayodhya case was there, and the verdict was supposed to come, and so on. There was a lot of hype in the media regarding that. But here is a case that has been going on for centuries, and it is about the destiny of this world. How that when God created man, God gave him ultimate authority. He said, go and have dominion over the world. He had a full control of this world. We know that, every animal was supposed to come when Adam says come. And that is how he was able to name them. And today, imagine to bring all the animals of the world right in front of you by just saying come. There is nobody who could go and bring those animals and tie them and bring them, There is no way that Adam could do it. He was the only man available at that time. And how they obeyed them, because he had dominion. He could just say, come, and they'll come. He'll say, go, and they'll go. So that kind of dominion and authority was given to Adam. But we see in Genesis chapter 3 that he gave away that authority, that gave away that power that given unto him to the devil. So much so that devil took that dominion and took that control. And even in that time when he came to tempt Jesus, he said, you bow down, you showed all this world, the glory of the world, and he said, this is all given to me. I will give to whomever I like, I wish. So it is, and it is noteworthy to see that Jesus did not dispute that. It was given to him, but Jesus encountered him by quoting the Old Testament, saying that, but that does not mean that I should worship you, right? To get you. But I am to worship the Lord God only, and you also to worship the Lord God only. So in other parts, we also see that the world is under the wicked one. 1 John chapter 5, on the last the third verse, last but three, third verse, it tells us that the whole world is under the authority of the evil one. So today we see this authority or the dominion of this world is given to the devil by Adam. Now here is the situation in which the second Adam who came, who is now willing to redeem, to buy back or to get back. I already mentioned to you the Leviticus indication of buying back the land and how that kinsman redeemer is when he comes, see that he will buy back whatever is lost. And this poor man who lost his property is so very happy that here is a kinsman redeemer who's willing to buy you back and own you to himself. And this is this beautiful picture that we see in the book of Ruth as well. So Jesus is now is the only one eligible or worthy to take the scroll and open the scroll. So if you look at the scroll, you will realize that the scroll is there and the seals are on top of the scroll. You know, this is very important. Why? Because there are many people that think that the scroll and the seals are the same. No, they're different. I will also bring in archaeological evidence here because this seal is kept on scroll. Please note that in your mind. The seals are put on top of it to just underscore what I'm trying to say. Look at this archaeological findings. The one is a Samaritan papyrus that was been in the dated 375 to 335 BC, much before the time of almost the time of the exile. I mean, after they came back from Babylon and so on. So this is a timeline which is in line with those years, and you see the seven broken seals which were found by the archaeological finding. And in this finding, that there are two photographs, the rare 4th century BC Samaritan papyrus, and it's detached seven seals. It was discovered in 1962 by Wadi Dahlia. And all seven seals were fastened to the scroll. You see, this is a larger find consisting of many more fragments, some small rolls of papyrus, but still sealed with seven seals. So this kind of a seal where a scroll which is sealed on the outside with seven seals is very much in line with archaeological findings as well, which we also read in this Revelation. So this is something that I want to just mention. So there are some major observations that we should have about the seals here before we delve into all the details of the seals. Number one is the archaeological evidence of the sealing of the seven seals point to the one in the picture. That means it is on the outside of the scroll. Second is, what I said, the seals are all on the outside of the scroll. Third is, the scroll and the seals are not the same. Now, this is very important. The scrolls point to the fact of the judgment, what is written there, right? The scroll. But the seals are the precursors. You know, the scroll contains the judgment of the wrath of God to be unleashed on the world. The seals are the precursors for opening this scroll. These are the preconditions. So only when the seals are opened, ultimately, then you can seal you can really open the scroll and read it. Before the seals are open, you cannot read what is there in the scroll. So then again, the important aspect to realize is the scroll is sealed mainly because only the authorized person should open it at that point in time. That is our Lord Jesus Christ described as the lamp. Okay, the lamp is the one who opens the seal. We see that in chapter 6, verse 1. And then only when after the seventh seal is opened is the wrath of God to be poured on the earth. And this is very, very vital because till the seventh seal is opened, what is inside the scroll is hidden. We don't know what is in the judgment, what is written there is the judgment. Because we know that the scroll is the final pronouncement of judgment, because all through the scriptures we see that Jesus Christ is the one who is going to sit as the final judge. And the judgment that is going to bring out into this world is this final title deed by which he's going to say, okay, this is my final pronouncement of my judgment against the world. So we know that a wicked world, there is only one judgment for a wicked world. The wicked word, one judgment is the wrath of God poured upon them. That's the only judgment that is the world is going to. And we see number of passages in both Old Testament and New Testament which talks about the wrath of God, which points to the outpouring of God's wrath in many ways into this world. So the first six seals or these seven seals are precursors or the preconditions before one could open the seal, and that they are not directly God's wrath. They are elements which are happen in this world, which will build up to that event which is called the day of the Lord. So that's something that you need to underline in your mind. Okay, let me first get into the first seal. I already explained to this. A man coming in a white horse. White horse, a bow without an arrow. So, and then he's given a crown and he began to conquer. So the entry of Antichrist, he enters by peaceful means and by deception, because the white horse is also mentioned as the white horse on which Christ will come in Revelation chapter 19 in the battle of Armageddon. We'll come to that and explain to you there. But you see, this deceptively saying, we know that in the Bible that the Satan will masquerade himself as the angel of light. That is going to put a dress of an angel and come to you. He'll come on a white horse, the same vehicle by which our Lord will come, and he will just try to counterfeit that and try to deceive people. So it's very important for us to not to be deceived by the externals. People paint the Satan by a dark dress and a hood and horns and teeth spurting out and all that. No, I don't think that Satan will come like that. In fact, he will come as the most handsomest man, the most smartest fellow, and the most intelligent fellow, and no one will be able to distinguish, because Satan is very clever. It's a fool who will say that Satan will give up his mask straight away. He will come very deceptively, and what I look forward to is a man who is so handsome and a towering personality, attractive personality, and a very great orator who will come to the world stage. He will be young and very vibrant, tremendous intelligence, and everything combined into one person. And our whole world will be applauding this man. And this is the way that he's going to enter into the world stage. So, and more importantly, he's not going to use powerful tactics. He will be having diplomatic way to enter into the world stage. So second thing that we see about him is that he will make a covenant. We saw from Daniel chapter 9 that he will make a covenant with many, including Israel. And that's why one of the reasons why I say that this man will be a Gentile Jew. Two reasons. Number one is that he will have easy access to the Israelis. Israelis are very smart, okay, and they are not easily cheated by people. They have tremendous business acumen. They have tremendous intelligence, and they got their agents all over the world, and they cannot be easily cheated. But to a fellow Jew, he's soft, and he will trust, because you see, the Jews will trust a Jew, and as a Jew, you go into their community, they have very special status. It doesn't matter from where you come, but if you are a Jew, that means they have a soft corner for you. Okay, so here's the point. The point is, this man who is going to come somewhere in Europe as a powerful man will have a soft access into the Jewish conscience, and he'll be able to appeal to them, and he will make a covenant with them, and that's number one. But he will not have any reverence to the God of his fathers. We already saw that the other day in Daniel chapter 11. But even though he is a Jew, he will not be a religious Jew. He is just a Jew by biological birth, but in all other means, he will not have anything. His faith will be completely different. He'll be just a Jew, but that's it. So he will make a covenant with both Israel and his neighbors. That's the second thing that we need to note about him. And the third thing, that the authority given to him was by popular consensus, not by power. He is not going to grab power, but there will be a popular consensus that will bring him to the top. The crown was given to him. There's a difference between a crown given and a crown taken. In many of those world empires, the crown is taken. They come, they conquer, and they take the crown. They grab it. That's how it happens. They kill the opposing enemy. They kill the opposing king, and then take his crown by force. So he is. This is very different. This man, the crown will be given to him by popular consensus. People will say, "Give him the crown." He's the one who should rule over us. And that's an amazing way of entry, because when you take a crown, you should be always afraid that someone else will take it from you. But when you're given a crown, that stays, and that is giving, taking a lot of intelligence, or waiting to get that kind of a position, that he's in no hurry, that till the crown is given to him, he will wait. And ultimately everyone will say, we want him as our leader. The request will come from people and not from him to leadership. And the fourth thing that I would like to say about him was, once he gets his authority, then his worldwide ambition of conquest is very clever, very deceptive, because he will not show that he is a very ambitious person till the crown is given to him, right? He'll wait and wait till the time that by popular consensus he gets the crown. And once he gets the crown, then he will start his worldwide ambition of conquest. Now, a good Bible student will wait and see how this happens. Who's this man? And we must very prayerfully consider and watch and pray. And why the signs are given? Because we need to be alert. We need to be praying and asking the Lord, these things exactly as you have said will happen. But then let me look forward. Now, we are not looking forward to the Antichrist, but we are looking forward to Christ. But when the signs are given, the precursors for the seal to open, we should be aware of the time. People who understand what's going on here. Okay, so that's the first seal that we saw. And the second seal, I want to just delve into the second seal. And the second seal, I opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now, once the Antichrist takes charge, we know that his worldwide ambition will start. He started off as the leader of one nation, then 3, then 10, which, finally he will have the support of 10 nations. And once that crown was given to him, once that, no one is going to question, unquestionable or unchallenged power is given to him over the 10 nations, his ambition, this worldwide ambition will start. And of course, some people will oppose him, but he is going to crush them. And there starts the war, wars and rumors of war, as we see in Matthew 24. So he will take peace away. The power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. So every peace-loving citizen in this country or peaceful countries, they will be challenged to come under him. And some say, no, we will not give up our sovereignty. Therefore, he will go and crush them. And this is this conquest and by which he is going to get world dominions. If you have the military backing of the major powers of Europe, then you will be, no one can challenge you. It's so much so that you have full military backing of the major powers of Europe behind you. That means you're a very powerful person, very powerful. So, meanwhile, let me tell you this also, that United States of America is not seen in biblical prophecy in the end times. Okay, so that means United States, the power that United States have today will have to wane and to go and to diminish. Now we see them as a major economic or the biggest economic power of the world. But then, if you know the charts, you will know that the China has overtaken them in the export for the last maybe 3 decades. They were topping the list of the biggest exporters in the world. But of late, 2 years, that China has overtaken them, and we will see that there will be a diminished United States. United States will be there, but it will not be a world power anymore. So, in the final scheme of things, the axis of power will be shifted from the America to Europe, and Europe will be holding the power. And obviously, there will be a resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire, as they call it, which will be revived, which will finally come to a 10 nations confederacy, which will be headed by one strong man who will be able to take over the whole world from there on. So, this is the kind of situation that we are going to envisage. America will be very much diminished. It will be a country, but it will not have anything to say in world affairs at that time. So that's a prediction that we have in the word of God. Okay, so this second seal, this man who is the Antichrist will try to bring everyone under him, including America. America and all the world powers, India and all the others will be brought under him. Therefore, essentially, there ought to be war. Those who are willingly agreeing, that's fine. But if they're opposing, they're saying, no, our sovereignty, we will fight for our sovereignty, they will have to face it. And there will be wars and there will be bloodshed. The peace will be taken from the earth and they should kill one another. And there was, okay, now one other important aspect, there will be multiple wars in the world and the peace on earth will be taken away. And one very important aspect is a special weapon is given to, and that's what it says here. There was given unto him a great sword. The first seal, a crown was given to him. I believe it is the evil devil, the Satan, who was giving him all this. Now, if you look at the temptation of Jesus, as I quoted a few moments back, actually Satan offered this post of the Antichrist to Jesus. He denied. He said, no, I trust my Father. And the authority will come to me in the legitimate way. But he was looking for a shortcut. If you bow down, I'll give you. But here is a man who is willing to bow down to him. And then Satan is trying to give his power. That is why the crown was given to him. And then the sword was given to him. Right? This is all done by the evil one. And here he is being entrusted or is given a very special weapon by which he is able to threaten and conquer the world. No one will be able to stand against this kind of power. I don't know what it is. I have maybe any electromagnetic pulse, EMP weapon or whatever weapon. I don't know what it is. But it is a very, very unique and a special weapon will be given to him by which he will bring all the opposing powers under him, subdue them, and bring all of them under him. So here is a man who is coming to be an unchallenged leader of the world, who is going to control the politics of the world, and who is going to control the economy of the world, and who is also going to control the customs of this world or the religions of this world. So this is a process by which Satan is, or the Antichrist is going to gain control. That is the second seal. Okay. The third seal is there is going to be a kind of a problem. Now, the problem is not defined directly here, but if you look at this seal, you will understand that. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, thou hurt not the oil and the wine. What does it mean? He is having a balance in his hand, and he is shouting something. A measure of wheat for a penny. What does it mean? It means this. Okay. A denarius, a Roman silver coin that had a normal purchasing power of 9.5 or 10 quarts or 9.5 liters of wheat. That means enough for the whole family of, 10 people or 9 people. So average can survive easily, right? Or 28.5 liters of barley. That is the purchasing power of a penny or a denarius or a Roman silver coin. But the situation here is 1/4 of wheat. That's what 1 measure of wheat was a daily ration for a soldier. So that means the economic situation at that time will reduce to such a situation in which the buying power of your money will be reduced to 1/10 of the current value. That means if you can buy 10 kilos of rice with a certain amount, 100 rupees or 200 rupees, then you can only buy 1 kilo of rice for the same amount at that time. So that means a severe economic inflation will happen, and because of the war, because of the great wars that had been fought, this kind of situation will arise in many countries. That the economic depression is going to happen, and the poor is especially affecting the poor because the daily wages are all been, about the people who earn their daily wages. So a situation is going to come that a day wage will only suffice to buy one person's food, and which he will have to share with others in the family. So there will be starvation, but there, on the other side, you will see that the luxury items, the oil and the wine, of course, used by rich people mainly, do not disturb that. That means the rich will not be affected by this. Isn't that something to take note of? The poor will get poorer, and the rich will get richer. The rich people are not going to be affected because of this. So this is the third horseman, or the third seal, and which you will see, which is going to happen because of this worldwide war on all areas. Okay, so this is something that you need to take note of. The fourth seal is very important, and this concerns us. All right, this concerns us. Let us take a closer look at the fourth seal. It says, verse 7 and 8. When he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and I behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Now, this is how the Antichrist is going to develop his campaign. First, he will enter the scene peacefully on a white horse by having a covenant mainly with Israel. So he'll try to solve the Israeli-Arab problem, and the crown, the authority was given to him. But once he gets this authority, he starts this worldwide campaign of bringing the whole world under his authority. And obviously some difficulties will be there. Then he will unleash the war machine, and he will kill. And there will be a worldwide economic depression by this. closely at this.
Uncle, excuse me, uncle.
Yeah.
വോയിസ് ഇടയ്ക്ക് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല, പിന്നെ ശബ്ദം പതറുന്നുണ്ട്.
Is it the same for everyone?
Yes, uncle. Voice is not clear.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I think I need to change my mic. Okay. Maybe I'll try to change my mic from tomorrow, but today at least, yeah, let's move on. Okay. So this fourth seal that we are looking at is that the death and hell followed with him. Persecution and martyrdom. Now, how do we understand this? Once the Antichrist is going to take his position or as the world ruler, that his real color will come out. And the whole world will know that he is the Antichrist only when the marker, the very clear marker that we see in Matthew chapter 24. In Matthew chapter 24, you will, if you come, you will see that persecution will begin, and the marker is given as Matthew 24 verse 15. Milan, can you please read that verse? Matthew 24, 15.
Yes. Matthew 24:15. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Then let them who are in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him who is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that nurse a child in those days. But
Okay.
they,
Okay. So Jesus is quoting from Daniel. There are two places in Daniel where we read this phrase, which is called the abomination that causes desolation. What does it mean? The word abomination is something which is detestable, right? Which causes desolation means which causes destruction. So this man who is the Antichrist, who entered as a worldwide statesman, he will present himself as an abomination. And what is an abomination to God? Abomination is when he will present himself as God in the holy place. That's the time when whole world, or at least the Christians, will recognize that he is the Antichrist. He is the one who has been mentioned throughout the scriptures as the one who opposes God. And this is how it becomes an abomination. Jews will be aghast seeing him standing in the holy place, because they can't ever imagine anyone taking that boldness to enter into the holy place and stand. We see in the Old Testament, there was a king, Uzziah, who took boldness to enter into that. The moment he entered, the priest came and said, Uzziah, you're not supposed to do this. And when they spoke, right at that moment, we see that the leprosy came on his forehead and he was taken out of that. And the rest of his life, he was a leper. So you see, the Jews will be severely shocked to see this man who had entry into their conscience, came into an agreement, and who thought he was their Messiah and so on, that he was false. He was a false person. And that is the time that they will realize that this man is not really a supporter, but he's going to be an enemy. So he's going to unleash, and he will demand worship as God. He'll be much severe than any of those earlier Roman empires who demanded worship, but he will make it so strict that he will stop buying and selling. He will, enforce punishment of the severest order against anyone who opposes him. So I believe this fourth seal that we see is an unleashing of persecution on Christians. So look at this. The death and Hades will use the wild beast of the earth. The last sentence or the last phrase is with the beasts of the earth. Now, this phrase is very noteworthy. Many times we think, oh, is it about wild animals? No. Let us look at this term in Revelation. In the book of Revelation, if you look at the term beast, the Greek word is therion, is used 39 times in the book of Revelation. Now, in almost all the instances, in every instance, it refers to Antichrist or his associations, his image, his system, or his religious accomplices. That means when the word beast is used in the Revelation, it points to the way that which the Antichrist or his associate is going to use sword, use the method of hunger, of death, in order to reign over his believers. Now, whereas it is consistent with other parts, In addition, there is a definite article, ho, that precedes the beast, which makes the beast definite. It's not about, you don't say the animal, the beast, the wild animal. No, then when you say the beast, you're pointing to something which is definite, which I believe points to the beast mentioned in another part of the Revelation, which is none other than the Antichrist. So the world or the believers are going to be persecuted by the beast, and with the instruments of his persecution, one is sword. They say this is very consistent with the fifth seal martyrs, since Revelation teaches that beast is responsible for putting believers to death. You read Revelation 13:10. It says, if anyone is meant for captivity, into captivity he will go. If anyone is to be killed by the sword, then by the sword he must be killed. This requires steadfast endurance and faithful faith. Revelation 13:20. So, a time is going to come when there is the middle part of the 70th week, when he will break his covenant. This is what we read in Daniel chapter 9. In the middle part of the 70th week, he is going to break his covenant with that he made with Israel and others. And then, instead of helping them, instead of being their friend, he will turn to their enemy. And not only their enemy, the enemies of all those who believe in God, right? The believers. And then they will be persecuted. And we see that because of the economic control that he will have. We already discussed that in yesterday's class, that no one will be able to buy or sell. He will put a mark on their right hand or forehead in such a way that no one can buy or sell those who are not willing to worship the image of the beast. Therefore, a man-induced famine, a man-induced hunger, you see, with hunger. That means they'll make people hungry so that they will bow down to him. They will be shown the sword so that they will bow down to him. They will be threatened with death so that they will. So these are all written to us because, not to scare us, but if a person is sick, it is better that, what is the worst? Then it will be more safer, because we know Jesus is telling all this not to scare us, but to comfort us. Why? Why we are comforted? Because we know that when these things happen, oh, the Lord's coming is very near, right? This trouble or this difficulty that we are going to face is only temporal, very, very temporal, and short time. And because of that, we know that the situation that we are going to have in this world, the difficulties that we are going to have in this world, will get over in a very short time, and then we will be taken up to him. So Anaka, please mute yourself. Okay. So what we are seeing here is a worldwide persecution by which believers will be dealt with. Will kill the believers by the sword and prevent anyone from buying food, hunger, if they do not possess this mark. So I mentioned to you that Jesus told us this for us to be prepared. Now let me now take a comparison between between Revelation 6 and Matthew 24. This is very important, okay, because what I said in Revelation 6 about the seals should be corroborated with other portions of the Bible also. So if you keep Revelation 6, the seals on one side, and then Matthew 24 on the other side, you will see the comparison. Now I see the comparison chart in front of you. You see the first seal in verse 1 and 2 in Revelation, which talks about the man coming on the white horse. It is not written that he is Antichrist there in the seal, but if you look at Matthew 24, you will understand that the one coming, the first thing that Jesus said about his coming, the signs of the end of the age, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I'm Christ, and shall deceive many. So this is the first thing that is going to happen. You know, Matthew 24, the Olivet Discourse, Jesus is also saying the same thing. The first thing that is going to happen is that many shall come. So many, it is a precursor to the Antichrist. Just before the Antichrist, there will be many people who will claim themselves to be Christ. So even today, if you go into the Google, type people who claim themselves to be Christ, you will see a list of people with large following from all over, all continents, South America, North America, Russia. You will see people who are claiming themselves to be Christ. So this is the first of the birth pangs. Many will say, I'm Christ, and shall deceive many. So this is Antichrist and false Christ. Second seal we saw was wars, and verse 6 and 7 in Matthew 24. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. You see, this is beginning, where these things are to come, but the end is not yet. He's talking to believers here, talking to disciples here, very privately. He's talking to believers. He says, wars will come. Don't worry. It's not the end. It is just the beginning. It's the beginning. And the third seal is the famine or the economic depression that is going to come in verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, the kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, the earthquakes in diverse places. So here is another of the birth pang is that there will be a famine, and to top it all, there will be this earthquakes also will add to that misery of people. Already they are poor, and then there will be earthquakes. So that's the third seal which we saw there. The fourth seal, what we saw was the martyrdom. Let's look at it. And these are the beginning of sorrows. Verse 9. Then shall they deliver. That means it's sequential, right? Once the third seal or the economic depression or the famine in a worldwide way is affected, then it's very important. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Martyrdom or tribulation is going to come after the worldwide economic depression. No? So you see the sequence. First, the Antichrist will enter the stage. Once the authority is given to him, he'll try to have this worldwide ambition, starting wars, and then because of that, there will be worldwide economic depression, earthquake to add to the misery, and then the persecution will start. And then that one marker that we saw is that what Jesus said in here, the same chapter in verse 15, where the abomination of desolation starts. If you have attended the early Revelation classes, you will know that 1 to 14 is a summary, and 15 to 28 is a detail. right? It's a detail. So you must understand it like that. The summary of all the things that is going to happen is mentioned there, and then it go into detail. So that when Jesus is explaining the detail, he's getting into the fourth seal. How that fourth seal is so very descriptive, and how that this man is going to persecute the saints of the Lord is mentioned from verse 15 onwards. At that time, when you see him sitting on that holy place, when he enters into that place, I believe that somewhere in Europe will be his political headquarters, but most probably he will put his religious headquarters in Jerusalem, in Israel. Right? So there is he going to say that I'm God. In the political headquarters, he will say, I am the military head of the world. But on the religious headquarters, he's going to say that I am the God to be worshipped. You see this, and I believe there's going to be one more headquarters, will be the economic headquarters. I don't know where it is, but there will be basically three headquarters that this man will be having. One will be the political headquarters, obviously one city in Europe, and the religious headquarters, most probably in Jerusalem, and where he will sit in the temple and say, I'm God. And then there will be an economic headquarters. And this religious headquarters, he is going to declare that he is going to be God. That's the time when the persecution starts, Jesus says. Then let them, verse 16, which be in Judea, flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with the child, pregnant ladies, and to them that give suck to those days. But pray that your fight may not be in winter, neither on the Sabbath day, because of the weather. You'll be on the open. Pray that it won't happen in winter. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now, this is a very important clue, I think. Jesus gives that. Only Jesus is given this clue. The clue is this, that tribulation of that time will be very severe, intense. But then, here is a clue that Jesus gives, or the Lord gives, is that those days will be shortened because of the elect's sake. For believers' sake, our Lord Jesus Christ is going to cut short those days. Isn't that a comforting thought? Satan will have his plan. This is enough. That's enough. That's enough. So he is going to cut short that tribulation period somewhere in between. Between the second half. That means from the middle of the 70th week and between the end of the 70th week, Jesus Christ is going to cut short the time and say, enough. That's enough. That's enough. And then he will go say the final full stop to it. And my friends, this is the fourth seal that we see, and an explanation also we saw how that there will be a worldwide tribulation, and believers will have to go through that. Some people say that how can God allow his bride to go through tribulation? How unkind of a husband to let his wife go through a severe persecution. My answer to that is persecution for righteousness' sake is not a punishment from God. If you stand for your faith and you are being persecuted for that faith, it is not a punishment. God is allowing such an event, such a situation, so that, because never forget, with Jesus Christ, even though he was a son, he learned obedience by the things that he suffered. Suffering. I already mentioned to you the great value of suffering in the life of a Christian. Romans chapter 5 talks about it. He says, not only so, we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation works patience, patience experience, and experience hope. And hope makes not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given unto us. So the end product of tribulation is to develop within us that blessed hope. You understand that? Many people today want to avoid tribulation. When you avoid tribulation, you will know what patience is. When you don't have patience, you will not have experience of God. When you don't have experience of God, there is no hope left. When you don't have hope, then what are you living for anyway? This is God's way in developing that blessed hope within us. So never despise the tribulation, because never try to escape and say, oh, I won't be. And let me tell you also this. From the beginning of the church history, you will see believers who had gone through unprecedented pain and suffering and persecution. Are you going to say that they're all the wrath of God? Did God was angry with them? Of course not. These are all consequences that happened because they stood for their faith. They were suffering for righteousness' sake, or they were suffering as a Christian. I already told you the word Christian is used only 3 times in the Bible: Acts 11:26, Acts 26:28, and 1 Peter 4:16. In all 3 places, you can go home and verify this. In all 3 places, you will see the suffering in the background. And 1 Peter 4:16 says, if you suffer as a Christian, do not be ashamed. So, my friends, let us keep our trust in the Lord and ask the Lord, Lord, give us strength. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, give us strength when that time comes, because you have already told us very clearly that these things are going to happen. And in very clear order. First, the strong man will come, take by peace, then war, then economic depression, then persecution of saints. And when these things happen, help us to be strong, because you have already told us. You have also mentioned that, these things will happen. I've already told you. Jesus says in verse 25 of Matthew 24, behold, I have told you before. And there's a reason. Behold, I have told you before. Why? So that you could be prepared. Warning is given so that we could have preparation. So when these things happen, don't be scared, but think, because tribulation ultimately brings the blessed hope. And if you try to escape from tribulation, maybe you miss out all the good that is attached to that. When you suffer for righteousness' sake, when you suffer as a Christian, when you are persecuted because of the word, happy, rejoice, because great is your reward. Amazing. So this is how we look at tribulation. Now, the great tribulation that is going to come. May the Lord help us to be very diligent in our study of the word, not to twist the word of God and just to try to escape the tribulation somehow and be comfortable, but ask the Lord to give us strength. Comfort does not mean a sentimental okay, or giving a ease in your mind. Comfort means to strengthen. You look at foot, I already mentioned to you, comfort means to strengthen one another these days, and to encourage one another, to exhort one another for godly living. May the good Lord help us as we meditate upon this verse.